Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. for no apparent reason and felt eerily uncomfortable, like you're being watched from somewhere in the darkness? Well, you're not alone. Between midnight and 4 a.m. is known as the witching hour or the devil's hour and is believed to be the period within the day when the veil between the living and dead are at their thinnest. I'm Bleaki, and today we'll explore the concept of the witching hour, also known as the devil's hour. According to lore and myth, this is the period when evil spirits, ghosts, demons, and even the devil are most active. They can add me to that list. I'll be tired all day, and then 3 a.m. rolls around, and I'll be playing games or watching TikTok, just living my best life. Because the doors are left wide open for spirits at this time, it is believed that paranormal activity is at its strongest, as spirits can slip into the world of the living while you're at your most vulnerable, tucked up in bed.
I'm always woken after midnight, searching for you.
Urban folklore and sinister legends of the Devil's Hour can be found all over the world, including Anglo-American, Native American, and Hispanic cultures, and have been shared for centuries. In literature, one of the earliest references to the witching hour was written by William Shakespeare in Hamlet, in which Prince Hamlet says, "'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn, and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on?" Although this soliloquy was written around 1601 and mentions the very witching time of night, one of the first recorded uses of the specific term witching hour was mentioned in a poem called Nightmare, written by Elizabeth Caroline Keene in 1762. The term the witching hour is believed to have been coined in 1560 by Pope Pius IV, one of the many famous stains of human history. It was during this period that a trend in witch hunting started. People didn't understand why diseases were so rife and decided to blame illness on the occult. This created a mass panic and paranoia, with people turning others in who they assumed were dabbling in the dark arts. At the time, it was said that witches practiced witchcraft between 12 and 4 a.m. when their magic would be at their most powerful. Also, under the cover of darkness, it was the perfect time to conduct their sinister activities when everyone else was asleep and they couldn't be interrupted. Which makes sense. If you were mixing a love potion with snails and puppy dog tails, the last thing you want is someone asking questions. Between the 16th and 18th centuries, it was estimated that around 60,000 people were executed during the witch trials. Some women were accused of witchcraft because of eccentricities or their connection to nature, and others were simply blamed as a way to get rid of people they disliked. Truly dark times. As has been a trend throughout history, during this time religious texts were used as an excuse to carry out some seriously chilling acts, especially during times when science was in its infancy. As the Old Testament's book of Exodus states, "Those shall not permit a sorceress to live." Those looking to cure illness or stop misfortune thought they were doing the right thing. The accused would be killed in truly awful ways, either by being burnt alive at the stake, hung, or being beheaded. Dunking was also a method used during this time, where an accused person would be submerged in water, and those who sank were considered innocent, and those who floated were a witch. Basically, a lose-lose situation for all these poor women. I don't get how nobody cottoned on to the fact that the people that were dunked all sank and nobody floated to prove their accusations were correct. There are only so many times you can say, "Oops, we dropped the ball on this one," before questioning your methods. Apparently, psychic mediums are more active during the witching hour, like a phone getting a crystal clear signal after coming out of a tunnel. But if that's the case, I wonder why they don't see their clients in the middle of the night. That would quite literally be the graveyard shift. Another interpretation of the witching hour is the devil's hour. In this variation, the focus is on 3 a.m. when demonic spirits are meant to be at their most active. The time is considered significant as it's the opposite hour to the death of Christ. The Bible claims that Jesus was placed on the cross at 9 a.m. and darkness covered the land from noon until Jesus' death at 3 p.m. when Matthew cried out, "It is finished." It is said that the devil chose 3 a.m. as a way to mock Jesus by flipping the time to the opposite time, like the horror trope where the cross flips upside down kind of thing. The number 3 is also significant as it is regarded as a holy number within Christianity, with it being the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. This is why many people in the paranormal community believe that demons will knock 3 times, leave 3 specific items together, or even leave 3 claw marks on their victims. One of the most infamous ghost stories that includes the Devil's Hour starts with a tragic real-life event. At 3 a.m. on November 13th, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. took a 35 modern lever action rifle and calmly walked around the family home at 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, shooting his mother, father, and 4 siblings while they were sleeping in their beds. At 6 p.m. that same day, he walked into a local bar and screamed, "You got to help me. I think my mother and father are shot." The events surrounding the murders were strange to say the least, as no gunshots were heard by neighbours and no one in the house was awoken by the previous gunshots. We know that nobody woke up and freaked out, as all the bodies were lying face down in their beds and there were no signs of struggle. DeFeo claimed that he had previously heard voices in his head and that at 3 a.m. something took over him, like a possession, and that once he started shooting, he couldn't stop. In American folklore, there is another story that has a heavy emphasis on the witching or devil hour. This is the story of La Mala Hora, translated as the evil hour, and is said to haunt New Mexico. Now, this is where things differ from other variations of the witching hour, as the evil hour is actually a specific demonic spirit. She is said to wander country roads and haunt those travelling at night on their own. She often appears on crossroads as a wicked-looking woman, or oftentimes as a black mass. She's been described as wearing black clothing, having an ugly morphed face, messy hair, and is regarded as a bad omen that indicates impending death affecting the traveller's life. Others claim that she has driven people insane or hypnotised or paralysed people who try to interact with her. Of course, this could just be a cautionary tale about not going to dark places on your own if you want to avoid dangerous real-life situations, but can we 100% rule out a demonic spirit? So what could be the scientific explanation that could have fueled the superstitions that surround the witching hour? It's always unsettling when you wake up in the middle of the night and see that it's 3 a.m, especially if you're superstitious or believe in the paranormal. Our thoughts can go crazy, imagining what might be lurking in the shadows, but it may not be anything paranormal at all and has everything to do with your sleep cycle. While sleeping, your body goes through different phases of sleep, with each one having different jobs and affecting the body in different ways. Around 3 in the morning, most people are in the middle of the REM cycle, which is the deepest form of sleep you can experience during the night. When we are in our REM sleep, our heart rate drops, breathing slows, and our body temperature also drops. Also, many body functions are reduced or stopped altogether, including the control over our limbs. Our bodies do this so we can have some quality healing time, but it can be terrifying to suddenly wake up during this time. Whether you wake up because of a noise, need the toilet, or in my case have a little dog face whining at you telling you that you need to go out, waking up during deep sleep of the REM cycle leaves you feeling dazed, confused and cold. Oftentimes you may even hallucinate while the brain tries to come back online. Disturbing the body and mind, the feeling of fear kicks in, which is why we often feel panicked when waking up in the middle of the night, especially when we wake up from a nightmare. With the witching hour ingrained into society throughout several generations, it is only natural for us to associate that feeling of sudden fear, confusion, or a trick of the eyes with the paranormal. There is also one more explanation behind the witching hour, which is a result of modern habits. Historians believe that sleeping a solid 8 hours is a modern thing, and that people in the past used to break their sleep into 2 sessions with a break at some point between 12 and 4. During this time they could carry out everyday tasks like cleaning, writing, praying, or even preparing food for the following day. Nowadays, those who get up in the middle of the night are usually just looking for a sneaky fridge raid. In fact, in 16th century France, it was advised that the witching hour was the best time of night to conceive a child. It was definitely not a poltergeist banging around those nights. Just saying. The 2 separate sleep sessions is also mentioned in the early English ballad Old Robin of Portingale that reads, "At the wakening of your first sleep you shall have a hot drink made, and at the wakening of your next sleep your sorrows will have been slake," which basically translates as, have a cup of tea in the middle of the night and you will be alright. Due to this history, experts think that this break from sleeping in the night could still be hardwired into us, which is the reason why we may suddenly wake up during the witching hour. Many of us wake up in the middle of the night, either from a bad dream or without any plausible reason at all, having a worrying feeling in our stomach that something paranormal has passed through the veil and is now standing in your bedroom. But the truth is, it could be down to our brains not gaining full consciousness, sending us into fight or flight mode. Of course, we can't rule out centuries of paranormal accounts and beliefs surrounding the witching or devil's hour. I myself have woken up in the middle of the night panicked, rolled over, checked my phone, and it's around 3 a.m. During that time, listen out for anything unusual, whether human or supernatural. It's hard to rationalise it away as the brain playing a trick on you. In fact, I'll share one of my many strange ghostly experiences. When we first moved into our current house, on the first night, I woke up around 3 something to the sound of dog claws tapping around on the kitchen floor downstairs. I assumed it was one of the girls wanting to go out, but as I looked down at their dog bed, they were both curled up sleeping. So I ran downstairs, still hearing this loud tapping, but as I got halfway, it stopped. Now that felt and sounded super real. If you have any of your own Witching Hour stories, I would love to read them in the comment section. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way you will get a notification the second I upload a new video. And as always, sleep well, friends.
I'm